No one is the suppository of all wisdom.
Sex appeal, carbon tax, stop the boat, argy-bargy.
Now and then I think of when we were together.
I saw you at the last cabinet meeting, Kevin. Stop being dramatic.
Like when you said you felt so loyal by my side.
Oh, for God's sake, moving forward, everyone.
I trusted you. I told myself that you were right for me when I had you as my deputy. Back in 07, it's an ache I still remember.
Get over it, Kev. Leap into the green energy future.
Oh, is this the real Julia speaking?
Into the new economy of the future.
You know something?
Buying cars, computers, talking robots.
Oh, actually, that was Kate Blanchett's idea at my 2020.
What was it?
You can get addicted to a certain kind of power. No resignation till the spill made me ill. I went to hospital.
I sent a card.
Now I have to hear from Simon Crean that I am nothing but a big has-been. With friends like that, who needs enemas?
Oh, stop it.
Let me say this. But you didn't have to cut me off. Make out like it never happened and that we were nothing. I don't even need your love, but you treat me like a stranger and that feels so rough. No, you didn't have to stoop so low, 'cause you knew that no one liked me and I didn't have the numbers. Guess what, I'm coming back, and so now you're just somebody that I used to know.
Kevin,
don't touch me.
It's just politics.
I'm proud of the fact.
Here we go.
Please don't interrupt me before I'm finished again.
Kevin, put your clothes back on.
Oh, it's good enough for Malcolm Fraser.
Now you're just somebody I used to know.
Folks, I want your support to do this. I need you, and you, and you, and you.
Is this what you say to world leaders, Kevin?
Oh, fair shake of the sauce bottle, Julia.
I can see there's not much support for your sauce bottle, Kevin.
2 words for you, Julia. Preferred leader.
You're just doing this for attention, aren't you?
That comment is as low as your poll numbers.
We'll see about that.
Oh, really? Is that one of your promises?
Couldn't even run a gym. If I can befriend you, I'll sack public workers, get rid of them at my whim. I was in the Navy, never got the top job. Success was not for me. Then I joined the Liberals, met David Clark. Now the premiership's my destiny. It's the Liberals. I'm the captain of the ship. It's the Liberals. Sent John Brockton to the jail. It's the Liberals. You were nurses if I win. It's the Liberals. It's the Liberals. It's the Liberals. Saxon teachers if I get in. It's the Liberals.
want you, we want you, we want you to vote for us.
If you're a right-winger and a real extremist, we like these sort of views. Don't you hesitate, I just need some mates. It's lonely living in Vaucluse. Folks say I'm away, cause suck it up to Canberra. They can have a GST. But I think I'll go far, be a big star, if I can only find Western Sydney.
And the Liberals,
I'm the captain of the ship.
and the Liberals,
Send John Brockett to the tip.
and the Liberals,
You would nurses if I win.
and the Liberals, and the Liberals, and the Liberals,
Slack just if I get in.
and the Liberals,
Throw workers' rights in the bin.
and the Liberals,
Loving John Howard's not a sin.
and the Liberals,
In the Liberals.
and the Liberals.
Oh, in the Liberals.
The Rudd persona has been something of a puzzle from the time he became Labor leader.
He's there, but he's so hard to read. It's so hard to tell what the real Kevin Rudd is.
Now, why is that?
Well, I think the answer is because he very carefully disguises that real person. And the real person is a very angry person.
The truth is that Prime Minister Rudd is deeply flawed. He has great weaknesses which, to date, have not necessarily been seen in public.
Just fucking hopeless.
Prime Minister Kevin Rudd is a foul-mouthed leader with a vicious temper.
He's got the public persona, which is the goody two-shoes image, but the private Rudd is a much more volatile character.
This fucking language.
The Prime Minister has had another expletive-laden brain explosion.
Then there's a story back in Australia
I've really got to
about
go.
you dropping the F-bomb.
He'd reduced a young female attendant to tears on one flight.
The Prime Minister complained sharply about the food provided.
Fairly graphic terms about what Kevin Rudd has apparently said to some journalists and others when he walked out of the Copenhagen summit.
Kevin Rudd said he didn't care what his colleagues thought.
Kevin, as leader, became someone who, for his colleagues, just became increasingly impossible to work with.
People came to the conclusion they could not work difficult issues through with the former Prime Minister.
What do you understand of the Cabinet process and how he's regarded by his Cabinet colleagues?
Well, as I understand it, Cabinet doesn't really work any longer.
People who actually have worked with Kevin in the past, who know him far better than the people who, watch television programs and see the stage-managed Kevin, can't work with him.
Part of it's indecision, but part of it was that obsession with minutiae.
I fucked up the last word.
Victorian backbencher Steve Gibbons used Twitter to accuse Mr Rudd of being a psychopath with a giant ego.
Selfie.
I sing like a cow.
It was certainly very clear to all of us that he was massively deficient, the government was not working, he was incapable of making decisions.
There seemed to be this chaos around him all the time. I think if anybody ever spoke out against him or questioned a decision he'd made or a thought that he had, you were soon put in deep freeze.
Tell them to cancel this meeting at 6 o'clock, will you? I'm going to have fucking patience to do it.
It is very hard for a man of his personality to, in a sense, let go, to share work, to trust people around him.
He's clearly been disloyal internally.
It started in the 2010 election campaign. Julia Gillard went into that campaign with a lead of 55-45 in the two-party preferred vote. And then there were leaks. Some accused Kevin Rudd directly of that. Those leaks undermined her efforts. Kevin Rudd came back into the conversation. That big lead evaporated overnight and she was forced into a minority government.
One of the most corrosive things that I've witnessed in public life is when people are seeking to advance a different proposition that the caucus might consider about leadership.
I have been in a political contest with the leader of the opposition, but I've also been in a political contest with people from my own political party.
Literally within days of losing the job, he'd already begun his campaign.
The Prime Minister found herself embroiled in yet another damaging spat over Kevin Rudd.
Julia Gillard has come out swinging after another damaging leak about private conversations she had as Deputy Prime Minister.
Another damaging leak to veteran journalist Laurie Oakes.
Election
election leaks that almost destroyed the Gillard campaign.
Vicious wounds inflicted on the party by Mr Rudd himself.
It's personal, implacable and pursued relentlessly.
It's the coward's way to get on the blower with Laurie Oakes and say, I'll tell you this, but you're not allowed to identify me. Now, it's the snake's way.
Two important qualities that you need to bring into the parliament when you're a member of a political party are discipline and loyalty.
An event last year at the Stag Hotel in Adelaide where Kevin called Julie Gillard a childless, atheist, ex-communist. He was on a rampage, calling her everything
Some
under
are
the
saying
sun.
they're prepared to sign statutory declarations.
That's right. A lawyer there is prepared to sign a stat deck.
The campaign of destabilisation that has been going on for a long period of time, which has basically threatened the future of the government.
The leaking is lethal because it's letting Tony Abbott get by pretty much unscrutinised.
The 2010 election was sabotage.
Kevin has been running a relentless campaign to undermine the government.
There's no doubt that he sought to tear down the 2010 campaign.
He never sleeps. He's always manipulating something.
Whenever she looked like she was recovering in the polls, suddenly Rudd became the topic of conversation again. Disunity is death in politics, and for whatever reason, Rudd supporters ensured that that was constantly the case.
Well, Australia has a new Prime Minister designate tonight. Kevin Rudd is back in the top job.
Interestingly, Kevin Rudd has promised a kinder, gentler brand of politics after executing one of the most brutal and drawn-out revenge attacks this place has ever seen.
Now leaving politics altogether, Gillard, Smith, Emerson, Garrett, and now since yesterday, Combay, joining those already announced, Ferguson, Roxon, Evans and McClellan.
In the case of almost every one of these people who's gone, there's a factor there that things are just too awful.
It was just Julie Gillard had been almost airbrushed out of history, 48 hours after the vote.
Imagine Kevin Rudd trying to negotiate some of that stuff through with his sort of incapacity to connect with other people, and
I agree.
He could never have done what she did.
And of course,
He doesn't have the courage and the strength that's required to do this job.
I can't help myself. I'm Tony Abbott.
Well, you're running wild. You've lost control. You've lost it, Tony.
And it's a shame to see that a man like me ain't PM yet. I'm Tony Abbott.
Oh. Well, your polls are dead.
My budgie smugglers are red, Julia.
I've got one word for you. Misogyny. Australia has to choose. And Tony, mate, you'll lose.
Can't help myself. I'm Tony Abbott.
Well, it just ain't right. But the public takes delight. With your big ears, my hair.
And your big bum.
Oh, give it a bone. Well, your ears might flap. But my bum gets a worse rap. We've got more bad habits than anyone. Now I've set the date. And I just can't wait. Oh.
I've one word for you, Julia. Craig Thompson fraud.
That's a bit of bad luck, yeah. That's just bad luck. But Tony, mate, you suck.
Oh, I can't help myself, Julia. I'm Tony Abbott.
Oh, a bit of a dance break.
This election's going to be all about trust, Julia.
Yeah, trust you to stuff it up, Tony.
Oh, glasses. I'm loving the glasses, Julia.
Oh, well, men make passes of girls who wear glasses.
I'll pass, thanks. Now I've got an urge. Maybe we should merge.
Yuck. Put that budgie back into its cage.
Feeling fancy-free?
Take your hands off me.
I can't help myself.
Oh, give it a bone. You're
Tony Abbott. Well, it just ain't right. It's something you can't fight. And soon my team will knock you off that chair, Julia.
Yeah, go on. Give it your best shot. But the Labor team are hot. So I'm scared as shit of Julie Bishop's step.
Now I'm a sexy chap.
Yeah, and you're full of crap.
Got my swagger down.
You think you're hot, and you're not.
So let the show begin.
I pity you can't sing.
I can't help myself. I'm Tony Abbott.
Yeah, you're full of shit, Tony Abbott.
Oh, I'd like a bit.
Yeah, piss off, Tony Abbott.
Bill Shorten, thanks for your time. Just picking up on Peter Slipper, before we get to the Health Services Union, can I ask you, do you think he should return to the Speaker's chair while these civil claims are still being played out?
I understand that the Prime Minister's addressed this in a press conference in Turkey in the last few hours. I haven't seen what she said, but let me say I support what it is that she said.
Hang on, you haven't seen what she said?
But I support what my Prime Minister said, so...
Well, what's your view?
Well, my view is what the Prime Minister's view is.
Surely you must have your own view on this, Bill Shorten.
No, when you ask if I got my view on this, that's such a general question, it invites me to go to lots of places.
Well, it's a specific question as to whether Peter Slipper should return as Speaker of your Parliament while he's facing civil claims of sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment's an incredibly serious matter. There should be no tolerance for sexual harassment. That's my view. On the other hand, these matters have yet to be established, and I support what our Prime Minister has said.
But you don't know what that is?
Oh, I'm sure she's right.